Hey, In2Picklers, welcome to Pickleball Therapy, your pickleball podcast dedicated to your improvement as a pickleball player. Our objective, as always, is to help you become the best pickleball player that you can be. In today's podcast, I want to talk to you a little bit about a specific way of thinking about things, a specific tip I'm going to give you on how to score more points or how to think about scoring more points. But before that, I want to talk generally about kind of how we think about the game, our understanding of the game, and how that can help us improve as pickleball players. So if you're into that, stay tuned for the podcast. You've studied the pickleball videos, maybe read a pickleball book, taken a lesson or two, but there's just something missing, something to complete the whole picture. That's where VIPickleball comes in. VIPickleball is the most immersive pickleball learning community available today. You can check out more information at wearepickleball.com. See you in the community. In a minute, I'm going to speak to you about scoring in five, the concept of scoring in five, and how having an understanding of that concept can help you score more points in pickleball, or at least understand how the mechanics of scoring points in pickleball work, and that'll hopefully help you improve your results by helping you score more points. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about how we think about the game and our understanding of the game. Basically, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a pickleball player or pickleball athlete, you're out there, you're competing as a pickleball player on the court. The question, I guess, is, do we really, when we go out there, do we really have an understanding of the game? Do we really understand the manner in which the game is constructed? Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, I'd imagine that you know how to score, you know how to move left to right when you win a point on serve, you know how to move front to back to receive the serve or return serve. So you know those types of things. But do you really understand how the game is constructed? In other words, the rules of the game, and not just the rules, but how those rules impact the play on the court and the way that we play the game, and how can we play the game more effectively or more efficiently in order to either score more points when you're on the serve side, which we're going to focus on today, or how to defend better on the return side, and which we'll focus on in a subsequent podcast. So as you know by now, or most of you know by now, I've been working with CJ Johnson from Better Pickleball. We've put out a product called VIPickleball, or a community called VIPickleball, I should say, where we basically take the knowledge that we have of the game, the years that we have in this game, and studying the game and explaining the game to students online and in person. And we take that knowledge that we have, and then we put it into basically step-by-step instruction. We put it into some online coaching for you, some online interaction where we answer questions and hopefully help guide our members to become better pickleball players. And we also basically steward a community of pickleball players that are intent on improvement. So, in VIPickleball, we have a project that I had started at In2Pickle, that if you followed In2Pickle, you're familiar with it, called Project 4.0. We're now pursuing that project within VIPickleball. It's a really important, it's a cornerstone, if you will, of how we approach our instruction inside VIPickleball. And so when you think about VIPickleball, when you think about Project 4.0, Project 4.0 is basically, how do you get to become a competent, well-rounded player, where you really understand the game, you're executing the game at a high level. A good 4.0 player, or benchmark, what I call benchmark, or a competent 4.0 player, is a player who really understands the game, really understands the both sides of the ball, knows how to score points, knows how to defend, and is just a player who can play pretty much on any court, no matter the opponent. They may not win every time, but they're going to be competent and competitive every time they're out there. So in order to get there, in order to get to a 4.0 level, it's really helpful to understand the framework of the game, to really have an understanding of how the game is constructed, that will then allow us to implement and adopt strategies in our specific games that will allow us to succeed. Each one of us comes to the game from a different standpoint. Each one of us has a different background, different skill set, different physical condition, all sorts of different variables, right, that each one of us has when we come to play pickleball. Having an understanding of how the game is constructed again, or the framework of the game, will allow each of us to customize our strategy to the game to gain maximum improvement. So, what I encourage you to do is I encourage you to not just, obviously work on your third shot, work on, your serve, work on your shots and your volleys and things like that. And that's important to have those basic stroke mechanic fundamentals down. But having those alone is not going to be enough if you really want to maximize your play, if you want to get to be as good as you can possibly be. So what you want to do then is you want to add to your training, or add to your thinking about the game. How can I learn more about how the game is structured, how the game is built, so that you understand the rules of the game and then can adopt strategies that are good for you. So, the way that we define the Project 4.0 within VIPickleball, we call it basically, it's the path for players of all levels to play your best pickleball. And I want to stress it's for players of all levels. So Project 4.0 is not for players who are already 4.0 or who are 3.5, almost 4.0, like 3.75, 3.8. Project 4.0 applies to players that are currently a 2.0 or a 2.5 or a 3.0 or a 3.5. Basically, it's showing players the route to get from where you are now to becoming a benchmark or a competent 4.0 pickleball player. And those steps, whether you're a 2.5, a 3.0, or 3.5, don't vary. What varies is how proficient you are in either your shot execution or perhaps at that point your understanding of those concepts. But it is not an impediment to having an understanding of those concepts that you are not already a 3.5 or 3.8 player. Again, if you're a 2.5, a 3.0, brand new to the game, starting to understand these concepts along your path to 4.0 will really help you improve as a pickleball player and help you just be more comfortable and confident when you're out on the court. So if you want to listen to my specific tip on scoring in 5, stay tuned to the podcast. You'd like to help your friend or family member learn how to play pickleball, but how? Now it's easy. Pick up a copy of Play Pickleball, A Beginner's Guide. It's the most complete guide to playing pickleball. Available as a digital download or in hard copy at In2Pickle.com or at Amazon. Let's keep growing the sport. What I want to do now is I want to share with you a specific tip that will hopefully help you score more points when you're playing. And what I hope it'll do is help you understand the framework on the scoring side when you're playing on the serve side, when you can score, and help you. The scoring in 5 kind of idea, it's not a dogma. It's not something you have to go out there and absolutely try and score in 5. But even understanding this idea of scoring in 5 and how effective it is when you're scoring in 5, if you can just digest this and process it, it'll help you when you're out there to score more points, because you'll understand the framework by which you're scoring points. So when we talk about scoring in 5, what are we talking about? We're talking about scoring after hitting the 5th shot. So let's go through it real quick. So we have the serve is number 1. The return to serve by the opponent is number 2. The third shot by your team, because remember you're the serve team, because your scoring is number 3. Obviously it's the third shot. The 4th shot is hit by your opponents, the return team. And then the 5th shot is hit by you or your partner. And in this scenario, the 5th shot is the kill shot, or the winning shot. So the 5th shot doesn't have to be a kill, but it has to be the winning shot. So in this scenario, you're basically winning after you've hit a serve, a third shot, and then the 5th shot is a put away or a finishing shot. The opponents have only hit a 2nd and a 4th. The reason the scoring in 5 is an interesting metric to kind of put in your mind, or at least to understand, is that when you're scoring in 5, what that tells you is obviously you've executed the serve properly, so that's good, right? Good news there. You've executed a third shot properly or well. So you've executed a third shot that your opponents weren't able to attack, because if they were able to attack it, you're not winning in 5. Winning in 5 means that the third shot was a good third shot, meaning it was an effective third shot. It also means that you, and hopefully both of you, but at least you or your partner, have moved up to the non-volley zone line in order to be able to take advantage of an opportunity given to you by the return team when they hit their 4th shot, allowing you to put away the 5th shot. So let's go through that again. You have a good serve. You have an effective third shot, or you did a good job with a third shot, you or your partner. And then you and or your partner are up at the non-volley zone line in time to put away the ball in 5. What that tells you is that you're executing well at steps 1 and 3, and that's awesome. You want to, that shows you development, shows you progress in your game, and shows you're playing at a high level. And then the 5th shot put away shows you that your team is moving properly forward in order to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves. So you're not hitting, let's say, let's look at another variation where you have a serve, that's good. Third shot is good, so that's great so far. But let's say you don't get up there in time to put away the 5th. So the third is good, put stress on the opponents, on the return team. They end up popping the ball up, but no one's up. So what ends up happening there is the 5th shot ends up being essentially another long dink, from the middle of the court, but ends up being, or a medium dink, ends up being from the transition zone. And then the put away doesn't happen until the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, or some other thing. that's okay, I guess. If you still won the point, you won the point. But you're not playing optimally if you have an opportunity created by the third shot where you're not putting it away in the fifth shot. So this idea of scoring in 5 is just a way of thinking about the game and understanding that if you happen to score in 5, what's interesting there is what you should do is look back on the rally for a second, right? While you're walking back to serve again, look back on the rally and say, okay, let's look at that. So the serve obviously was good. What kind of third shot was hit there? Because if I scored in 5, maybe I want to hit the same third shot again because it worked the last time. And then getting it, and then the fifth one meaning, okay, great, can congratulate, talk to your partner and say, good job of moving up there and putting the ball away. So scoring in 5 again is simply a way of thinking about, scoring in pickleball, understanding the framework of the game, and that's how you'll understand how you can set yourself up to score more points faster. And the bottom line is, you score more points faster, you will likely win more games. If you'd like to see a video about this, I'll link to it in the description of the podcast, but you can go to our YouTube channel, which is In2Pickle, IN2Pickle. Look up on YouTube there, and then we have a video about scoring in 5 in there, and you'll see basically it in action in different points and different rallies in different games. So you'll see how it works, and you'll get a good idea of it. So check out the video there. If you enjoyed this week's podcast, which we hope you did, please share it with your friends. If you like the podcast, they probably will too. Come back next week for more Pickleball Therapy. Stay well out there.